I'll get us started here. There we go. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that's jumping on today. We're excited to have you with us. I think we have a great lineup for today's webinar. So for any of you that I may not know, my name is Kim Schaefer, and I am the Regional League Manager serving the Indiana, Michigan, Northern, and Southern Ohio PGA sections. So I am a PGA and an Lpga member, and I work very closely with Chelsea in the Michigan section to assist all of you with any player development needs that you might have. We have already hosted 2 webinars so far this year, and Chelsea has sent those out via email. So if you missed them, you can go back and review them and watch them and kind of catch up. We're super excited to be able to do these webinars and be able to connect professionals with one another and be able to hear each other's best practices and basically take this opportunity to just learn from one another. You know, hey, what is working at some of your facilities? And, you know, maybe that's something you might want to integrate into your programming at your facility. So we're super excited to have you on today. As we go throughout the webinar, we encourage you to be involved. So feel free to unmute yourself and speak or ask a question, or up in the top of the screen, there is a little chat button. You can click on that chat and you can type in any question that you'd like to if you don't want to actually speak. But we do ask that you do stay muted if you're not going to speak. That way we won't hear dogs barking and babies crying in the background and things like that. So I am going to go ahead and kind of kick things over to Chelsea so she can start off our conversation today.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Chelsea Goins. I know quite a few of you on the call, but for those of you who I do not know, I am the Player Development Coordinator and Foundation Activities Director here in Michigan. And I am really excited about today's topic, as many of you are currently participating in Junior League, and now you've kind of shown that interest to maximize your success with the program. So we have some great topics that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to start with 17U. So first, we're going to just kind of go over what 17U is. The PGA Junior League started with just 13U, but as players kind of aged out of the program, we discovered that there was a demand for growth in those older players. And a lot of our 17U players are people who aren't highly competitive. So they might be some of the kids who didn't make the high school team. They might be people who just don't have an interest in playing competitive golf, but still really like that team format. And we're seeing a huge uptick in the numbers who are interested in this division. The flexibility in the 17U division, for example, you only need 4 players on a team, and you need about 4 teams to make a league. So it's a little bit easier in terms of recruitment. We don't have that 8-kid minimum like we do for that 13U division. So there's a lot of different flexibility that you can have with that 17U division.
Absolutely. And we've seen a lot of different leagues go about it differently. But one thing that I've seen recently is if you're already in a 13U league and you're already participating, let's say, with some other travel teams, one of the easiest ways to integrate a 17U program into your overall programming is to simply create your game schedules on the exact same days as your 13U program. So, you know, if you're already going to be playing facilities A, B, C, and D in your league with the 13U program, you can all get together, recruit 17U teams, and then either have those 17U players play immediately before or immediately after your 13U kids. And then that way you're not creating any extra game days for the professionals feeling like you need to travel or have those extra game days. So it's a great way for you to expand your programming, but not necessarily adding days to the schedule that might inconvenience you. So that's one thing that we're seeing a lot. The other thing that we're seeing quite a bit is, for example, if you're doing in-house leagues and you're doing your own in-house league, I have a lot of pros that like to do a 17U in-house league. And they've told me that they found it to be a very easy experience because a lot of those kids, being ages 14 to 17, they're a little bit older. They don't require the same kind of supervision that the younger kids do. So lots of times they will send them out to play their games on their own. and they might, travel in and out a little bit here or there, just kind of pop in, check in and see how they're doing. But they like to give those kids a little bit more independence and freedom out on the golf course. And so I've had a lot of pros tell me that they found that their 17U division is actually much easier to run than their 13U division. One thing that's exciting for 17U this year is, for the first time ever, we are going to have both section and regional championships for 17U. Depending on the growth of this division, we could potentially see a national championship a few years down the road. So we'll kind of see how that growth happens. But we're really excited to have those section and regional championships this year. For those all-star teams, they will have 6 players on an all-star team. They will play 3 groups with the 2-person scramble in place. So with 3 groups doing a 2-person scramble, the 2 best scores out of the 3 for an aggregate score format will then be the team's final score. So they count the 2 out of 3 scramble scores to be the total team score. So that's how kind of the postseason will work this year for the 17U division. One other thing I want to share with you with 17U division is there's also a lot of flexibility there. So, for example, I've had several people tell me, hey, those 14 to 17-year-olds, sometimes they like to do different formats. So instead of always doing the scramble team format, sometimes they might do a shambo format or an alternate shot or a Stableford or something along those lines to kind of mix it up for that particular age range. And they've said that that's been something that's been very popular with the kids, and they've really enjoyed that experience. So overall, the feedback I've gotten from pros that are doing the 17U division is they actually feel like it's easier than the 13U division because the kids don't need as much supervision. And they found ways to integrate it into the 13U schedule so that way they're not having multiple game days and things like that. Before we go on, I wanted to ask you all, is there anybody that has any questions at all about the 17U division in particular, or if you're thinking about doing it, any questions that you might like to throw in? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat, so I'm gonna kind of conclude the 17U topic. And feel free, if you do think of something, to add it into that chat area. And I'm gonna let Chelsea jump in with talking about fall leagues.
Yeah, awesome. So the fall league opportunity, this last season, we had several facilities kind of see that large jump in the number of people wanting to compete in fall leagues. For example, Dean Marks at Millen Park had 36 players in his regular season, and then he had 84 in his fall season. The fall season does not have a postseason connected to it, so it has a lot more of a recreational atmosphere to it. We're finding that there are plenty of kids out there who enjoy playing golf just for fun rather than competitive reasons, and the fall season is a really great way to end the year with a recreational program. Dean, we'd really like to hear from you about your fall program this year. Tell us how you decided to host a fall program and how in the world did you go from 36 to 84 players?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, our fall program was pretty amazing. We've had our summer program for almost since the beginning, and we've had 2 to 3 teams each year. This year we had 3 teams. We competed against Kalamazoo Country Club, the Moors, and Go Lake Country Club. And we've kind of been set in our schedule and our routine for that. And for the fall program, we weren't sure if the country clubs were going to have any teams or not. So we just decided to create our own program. We set the days that we were going to practice on Tuesdays and have our matches on Thursdays. And having a preset schedule for the whole fall, I think really helped the parents figure out, can we do this and what their commitment level is. And I think the word just got out that we ran a good program and people just kept signing up. So we ended up with 84 players. I kind of freaked out as the signups were going because I thinking I don't have enough staff to do all this. But fortunately with some of my pros because I oversee 4 total golf courses. So I used the pros from there and then had some assistants to help us out. We set up a schedule where one team would practice at each course on those Tuesdays, and then we'd play matches at 2 of the courses on the Thursdays. And so we ended up with 4 teams of 21 players, and kind of changed the format a bit from the summer. And having 21 on a team actually worked out very well, because then if you have 3-4 kids who are missing because of something, you still have 7 matches going on. One other thing that we did for the fall is we opened it up to 17U as well. I had visions of creating a whole separate division of 17 and U, but with friends wanting to be together and other things, we just kind of blended them into the team, and I spread them out evenly across the 4 teams, so that our 2 top matches, we played them from a different set of tees. And we kind of lead them out. They'd play a longer course, which they felt was a little more competitive, and they enjoyed that. And then our other matches would play our normal shortened PGA Junior League tees. So all in all, the parents really loved it, had great feedback. Looking for summer program. They're already asking, can we sign up in the spring? When can we go? And so now I'm trying to figure out how we're going to handle more than 36 kids next summer.
Awesome. Yeah, 84 kids is a lot. I know you mentioned that you borrowed some of the professionals at the 4 facilities that you oversee, but can you tell me just a little bit more about kind of that coach to player ratio and what that was throughout the season? And then, you know, how you went about selecting your volunteers. Did you get parents? Did they offer up their assistance, or did you kind of handpick what people you thought would be good?
A combination of both. So we do have some parents who've been in the program for a few years, so they're happy kind of overseeing a group. Our summer program had myself, Joe Pryor is my head professional at Millen Park, Matt Brooks is my assistant at Millen Park. So we each had our own team over the summer. But I also run Old Mill Golf Course, where President Bales is my general manager down there. So I made him take a team for the fall. And then some of my volunteers from my summer program, because I run a large summer youth program that has over 350 kids in it, we had those people help out with the coaches. So for week 1, we broke into just an instructional kind of a practice type scenario where we had about 20 kids at a time, and we had all the coaches there for that first session. And so we got to know each of the kids, and that helped me divide the teams out as evenly as I could. And then for week 2, one coach would take their team at one of the 4 courses, and usually had at least one volunteer who was helping, and then any parents who kind of knew the system and knew what was going on. And also helped that we had a lot of returning players from the summer program who kind of knew, and they could help out some of the new kids. And I think it made it a little more comfortable for them. So we had a wide range of competitive players to complete beginners this fall, and it just blended really well.
Dean, I am so impressed with what you've done there at Millen Park. In listening to you talk, there's actually several things that you said that I want to highlight. Number one is, it's obvious to me that you've done an amazing job of looking at your situation, assessing it, and then being flexible and creating an environment that's best for your families. And what I mean by that is you said a couple things. You said, you know, hey, when the fall came, you know, had 84 players, I kind of was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And you were very flexible. You created 4 teams of 21. You played 7 matches instead of kind of the standard 4 matches, because that was going to be better for your group. You had some 17U players, but you noticed that it might be better for those 17U players with their friends to be mixed in with the entire group rather than having their own 17U division. You really, really took the time to assess your customers and their needs before you totally set everything up. And that's what's leading to such the growth and the success that you're having. So first of all, I just want to say what an amazing job you've done of listening, first of all, to everything that's going on in your program, and then creating and being flexible enough to make an environment that's best for what you've got. And that's the one thing I love about PGA Junior League, is it is very, very flexible. You know, if you sit down and you read the rule book, it's like, oh, you have to play 4 matches and you must do this and you must do that. But it's really not like that, not during the regular season. There's lots of flexibility there, and your program is just a prime example of how you're using that flexibility to create the best possible experience for your players. So I absolutely love hearing that story. And then the other thing that I really enjoyed about listening to you is I have a lot of professionals that really struggle with quite frankly, just the growth of their programs is, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to go from 36 to 84. I don't have the staff. I can't do that. I think I'm just going to cap it at 36. And because they're worried. They want to make sure that they're going to provide a high level experience, and they're just struggling with how to deal with the staffing. And it sounds to me like you've been very creative with how you've staffed some of those things. I loved how you said, well, I basically made the manager take a team. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to do that. But, I also think it's good to involve some pros from like some of those other facilities. Get the parents involved. There are some parents that are very experienced PGA Junior League parents, and they make wonderful, wonderful volunteers. I've heard also from some other pros that one thing that they're doing with great success is they're reaching out to their men's and ladies leagues and their senior leagues, and they're getting a lot of their league players and saying, hey, you know what, I know that you play in a league, 1 or 2 days a week. You're obviously an avid golfer. You love the game. Would you like to be a volunteer for our PGA Junior League team and help kind of give back to the game by helping these youngsters get involved in the sport? And so they're actually getting a lot of volunteers from their men's and ladies and senior leagues and getting them involved and helping out as well. So I applaud you for the creativity that you've shown with your program, because that's exactly what I think PGA Junior League represents, is being able to take all of those things and create the experience that's best for each of your players. So thank you very much for sharing that. Before we move on, do you have any just best practices at all that stick out in your head? Hey, this is something I really want to share with the group that you feel like you're successful with at your facility.
I think what's worked over the last couple of years is committing to a schedule. So even our summer league, when we're trying to schedule with the country clubs, I was like, we need to be on the same day and just set those days aside. Because I've heard some other leagues who a week before they're calling the other course saying, hey, what day do you want to play? When can you play? Well, then the parents don't know and the kids don't know. So I think setting to a schedule is very important. And then having practices. I've heard of some courses that don't have practices. They just kind of show up and play the matches. But for us, having those practices was crucial to understanding the kids' abilities, figuring out who plays well together, who needs a little help, so that when we do the matches, we can be out there and support those ones that do need some of the extra help, and the ones who just are on their own and love doing it, let them go and have fun.
Actually, I think that's great advice. I know families love to have a consistent calendar, and they like to put those dates on that calendar and have it set in stone. So I think you bring up a really big happiness factor for a lot of our families, is getting those schedules done right away. And one of the things that we find repeatedly in our surveys that we get back is that families actually, they want that instruction that you're talking about. They want those practices. They want their kids to learn the game and feel prepared for game days. So you brought up some really great points. So I thank you for sharing all of that. Does anybody on the call have any questions at all about fall leagues or anything in particular you would like to ask Dean? You can either unmute yourself or join in the chat channel if you have any questions on fall leagues at all. Dean, I think you nailed it because nobody has any questions. So I'm gonna let Chelsea lead us into the next topic.
Awesome. So we have a couple more topics to talk about today. The next one is our online PGA Junior League store. So I don't know if everybody knows about the store, but each professional registers to host their own PGA Junior League individual store. So when you click that shop tab on the website, you're directed to a page where you can find your host professional and their online store. And then the profits from every single item purchased on that store go directly back to the PGA professional. So if you share that link with your families and they decided to purchase 4 sweatshirts, 10 hats, a couple water bottles, all of that profit from those sales will be provided to the professional at the end of the season. So some pros actually go on and purchase a water bottle or an outer piece wear for themselves and kind of use that as kind of promo. So they'll bring it to practice, and their families will start to ask questions, like, oh, where'd you get that logoed item? And that way they can kind of create that word of mouth advertisement and share that link to their families. So does anybody kind of have any questions on how the online store works?
Chelsea, thanks for sharing that. The online store actually is a great way to get some additional revenue. And that was a great segue into what I wanted to talk about for a minute, which is, as someone who hosts a PGA Junior League program or a person at your facility that maybe hosts lots of junior programming, one of the best things that you can do is to track your revenue from those programs. So I'm going to take just a minute here, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And I want to show you, let me pull this up here. Chelsea, if you could give me a verbal once you can see my screen so that I know you're seeing it.
We can see it.
Fantastic, thank you. So what I'm showing you right here is our National PGA Junior League team has put together a revenue tracking scorecard. And we are going to share this with the webinar recording so that everyone in the Michigan PGA will have access to this revenue scorecard. So the first thing you'll do is you'll just come in here, you'll put in your first, your last name, your email, your section name, your facility name. And then from there, you will have finished that start button, and it will literally walk you through each one of these tabs. So you can go in and you can click on the summer tab, and it will ask you a few questions about your registration fees and whatnot. Same thing for the fall tab. It'll talk to you about the number of spectators you normally have and if they rent spectator carts or not. Do you see merchandise sales going up on game days or on practice days? It'll talk to you about, additional coaching. How many of those junior league players did you sign up for individual instruction programs? Did you get any sponsorships? There's all sorts of, when you click on each one of these tabs as you go through the process, there's all sorts of questions that directly lead you to inputting your answers. And then at the end, once you've inputted all of your answers, there will be this nice summary that will come up, and it will kind of give you a great summary of all of the different revenues that came into not only yourself as a professional, but came into the facility as a result of your PGA Junior League program. So this is a great way for you to track not just your registration revenue, but any of the additional purchases that you see from your families and how they are really supporting the facility more and becoming more active customers at your facility through your programming. So this is something that you could share with your employer, your board of directors, a golf committee, anybody at your facility that you believe might benefit from those particular numbers. The biggest thing of all that you'll get out of this is not just seeing the revenue that's coming through the program, but the more programming you offer to people, the closer relationships that you build with them. And once you start building those close relationships with them, you're going to find that you have much more loyal customers that will want to come back again and again and again, and you'll start developing those lifelong golfers and those lifelong customers. So there's a definite sense of loyalty that you will see once you go through this revenue tracking scorecard, and you go through there and you add up all your numbers and see the direct impact that you're having upon your facilities. So I wanted to share that with you so that hopefully you can, when we share it with you in the follow-up email, it's something that you can do and put together. And we would love for you to fill that out and then actually share it, with Chelsea and I, and so that we can also get an idea of what you're doing at your facilities. So I thank you for that. And Chelsea, I'm gonna let you take back over.
Absolutely. Has anybody on the call used any form of revenue tracking for PGA Junior League before? All right, well, you are all now inspired to do it. And next year, when I ask that question again, I expect some hand raise. Another thing that we kind of wanted to talk to you about today was how to, the opportunity to engage new customers. So if you're looking to grow your program, of suggestions. For private facilities, we often hear about clubs allowing their members to invite a friend to join the PGA Junior League program. This is a really neat way to allow a potential new member who is already friends with current members and have their child join the team for the season. Really is not a better way to impress a new potential member than with this friendly team and atmosphere like PGA Junior League. So we highly recommend the invite program if you're at one of the private facilities. And then for public courses, we often hear about professionals who reach out to their local schools, their church youth groups, Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, charitable organizations such as Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA to help grow their PGA Junior League programs.
You know, Chelsea, in addition to what you were just saying, because those are all fantastic ways to grow your program. One thing I want to make sure everybody knows about is the scholarship program. So PGA Reach offers a wonderful scholarship opportunity for those players who have financial need. There are basically two ways that children can qualify for the financial aid scholarship. One is if the child is on free or reduced lunch at school, then they automatically qualify for a full scholarship. And two is if they have what we call extenuating circumstances. So if a family member has had an emergency and they have major medical bills, or if a family member has lost their job, so they've had a major loss of income, which unfortunately there's been a lot of that this year in particular. So those are some different ways that a child could potentially qualify for a full scholarship on your PGA Junior League team. Just to give you a summary of kind of how that scholarship program works for the professional, each professional that offers the scholarship program, to their players, they will receive $100 per child that is on scholarship. So regardless of the total program fee, the professional will receive $100 for each child. So for example, if your program costs $375, and $300 of that is going directly towards you in registration fees, and $75 is going to PGA Reach for the team kits and all the other entities of the program, then you would receive $100 instead of $300 for that particular child that is on scholarship. Now, the reason for that is we only have so much scholarship money. And so, believe it or not, we do have some programs around the country that actually charge over $1,000 for their PGA Junior League program. And they have lots and lots of games, lots and lots of practices, and they do it over the course of a long season. So they might charge $1,000. We would very quickly run out of scholarship funds if we paid that professional $1,000 for every child on their team. So what we've done is we've kind of divvied that out to where the professional that's offering the scholarship is receiving something for their time. They're receiving that $100, but in essence, they're also kind of giving back and allowing that child to play on their team for a kind of a reduced cost, if that makes sense. So the way that would work is once you know that you have some kids on your team that would require a scholarship, we would have you fill out the scholarship application online. It literally takes just like a minute to do. And then we would send you a scholarship code. So you basically, it's like a coupon code. And you would give that to your players when they go online to register. When they get to the very, very end where it's time to pay, they would type in that coupon code in the coupon area. They'll type in the coupon code and then it zeroes out the balance so that player does not actually pay anything to play on your PGA Junior League team. So if you have any players that are in that financial need area, this is a great way to get them into the game and get them started with the program. So wanted to make sure that you were aware of all of that. Any particular questions at all about either the scholarship program or any of the ways that Chelsea mentioned to grow your program? Okay, we are going to head into the final topic of the day. And the final topic today we're going to discuss is girls golf. So Chelsea and I often hear from a lot of our professionals that they wish they had more girls in their junior golf programs or on their PGA Junior League teams. And today we have two guest speakers from the LPGA. We have Fernando Carrasquillo, and he is from the LPGA National Headquarters, and he kind of leads the initiative for the LPGA Girls Golf Clubs. And then we also have Debbie Williams-Hoke, who is a Michigan professional, and she works over at Brookside Golf Club in Brookside Golf Academy in Saline, Michigan. So we're super happy to have both of you here to talk about the LPGA Girls Golf Club and how professionals might be able to grow their girls golf participation at their facilities with this program. So Fernando and Debbie, thank you both for joining us today. I am going to toss it over to you and let you share all your knowledge with us.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that introduction, Kim. Again, my name is Fernando Carrasquillo. I'm the programs coordinator for the LPGA Foundation. So, like I said, my main task, really, role with the company is, amongst many other things, but what I like to consider the most important one is being the bridge between prospective site directors, hopefully like yourselves, into becoming an official LPGA USGA Girls Golf site director. So what we're going to present briefly today is just some main requirements and expectations, and then I'm going to pass it off to Debbie to share her experience and best practices as well, specifically within the Michigan area. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen here. Let's see, there we go.
Fernando, I can see it, so you're good.
Perfect. Yep, it's just saying presenting the screen. So, all right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So, why start a girls golf site? So, as Kim mentioned, most of you have demonstrated an interest in growing amongst young females within your community, and girls golf really is the best way to do that. So, LPGA USGA Girls Golf is the primary junior golf program of the Lpga Foundation, and it's run in partnership between us and the USGA. So they're our main donor and sponsor, as well as partner. So they help us provide financial, creative, and educational resources, amongst many other things. So we're really the only program nationwide that specializes in single gender and all girl programming. We tend to cater for girls aged 6 to 17, and offer various programs within the Lpga Foundation. So typically, you could say that girls golf is almost like the gateway into golf for these young girls, opening the doors to various opportunities, not only within the Lpga Foundation, joining our other programs like leadership academies, or even becoming a recipient of our scholarships, but even becoming a fellow PGA or LPGA teaching professional, to playing on the Symetra Tour, LPGA Tour, which we have a lot of alums that have come out of girls golf that play on there as well. So, and we're lucky to have a lot of partnerships and, and organizations that assist us in the process, including our very own LPGA and Symetra Tour, PGA Junior League, as well as we're looking to have more opportunities to bring girls golf into PGA Junior League chapters and vice versa. The drive, chip, and putt, Girls on the Run, and similar organizations that are very female oriented to promote health and wellness, and also Peggy Kirk Bell Golf Tour, and much more. So some of the benefits for you in the facility. So some of you may question, and I apologize for the lawnmower outside, but can't really help it in an apartment complex. Some of you may wonder, like, how much time does it consume, or what's the benefit? What do I get out of it? So, a benefit is that we really empower you to become pretty much autonomous in running a girls golf program. We give you the flexibility, to really run it however you like, or whatever works best for you and your schedule, your fellow instructors, even for the girls that you're trying to cater to. It helps attract new members and golfers, not only for your PGA Junior League program, but also for your facility. You know, if you're in a private club, additional membership, and it really is a way to create and generate more revenue for yourself and your facility. You know, if they join girls golf, the parents see a future in the kid. They might want to invest in private lessons, and it really just could open the floodgates to a lot of opportunities for you. And like I said, you know, growth and improves member retention. You know, we offer grant funding opportunities for the programs as well. So the Lpga Foundation does have grants that to help our programs offset expenses, and especially this year, you know, offset a lot of financial loss. So we're fortunate to help our programs, you know, pretty much, you know, either survive or move forward this year, which has been really helpful. You know, Lpga and PGA professionals like yourselves are able to receive education credits or MSRs. You know, we just would certify that for you. And that's another incentive to becoming a program director. You have access to our support team at HQ. And like we mentioned, it's just a great way to generate new business and opportunities for yourself and the girls. Little background on our program. So it was founded 31 years ago in 1989 in Phoenix, Arizona by Sandy LeBeau, who's a Lpga teaching professional. And once you join the girls golf family, you'll see her name pretty much anywhere, not only because she's our founder, but we have a grant and our Spirit Award, which highlights a site director have gone above and beyond throughout the year. And actually, Debbie, she'll speak on it, but she's one of our recipients of that award in years past. So she's just pretty much our founder and a great person that we look forward and be inspired by. And really, our foundation is based on the 5 E's of girls golf. It's empower, enrich, engage, exercise, and energize. So you'll see that a lot in all of our brand messaging and our mission statement. So, you know, why do we focus on that? So we just want to motivate the girls to, you know, show self-improvement and growth, but also have fun. Is really one of the main parts. We want to make it affordable and accessible, but also fun for the girls to join and keep them motivated. Sometimes they could be put off by the competitive aspects or playing in a co-ed league, or you know, there could be a lot of varying factors, but with the openness that is girls golf, you know, we tend to offer a lot of retention for them. And just here's some of the data. So as of last year, we engaged 90,000 girls. So far, we opened almost 50 sites, and currently we have over 500 sites nationwide and worldwide. We just added a few sites in Canada and opened our first one in the UK through Let Better Golf as well. So we're growing, and we're hoping that you're part of our growth as well. And so you can see some of the numbers. You know, currently the data says that, you know, young girls make up 36% of all junior golfers, and we're hoping to reach at least a 50-50 sometime soon. You know, and facilities that offer girls-only programming, you know, usually average an increase of 50% retention if the young girls in the program. So. And we've offered more than $5 million grant funding since 2002. So pretty much just saying that we give you the tools to be successful in establishing girls golf. You know, what do we require from you to run a program? So typically the sites are run by what we call site directors and co-site directors with our full support. So we give you the tools and resources to be successful, from again, the funding to a curriculum and a playbook that you could follow, of course, in addition to what may be currently successful in your other junior programs. You know, we want to make it fun. We want to make it life-changing. But also, again, we empower you to run it however works for you. So, you know, you could set your own programming schedule. You could establish your own fees to help offset those expenses as well. So it really is very flexible and unique to you. So, you know, and not only from clinics, but our certified events include, you know, casual outings and even social activities that the girls could build lifelong relationships, promote leadership, promote confidence, and like kind of going back, appealing to the 5 E's of girls golf for that. So I'm going to pass it off to Debbie. So Debbie, you could go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Fernando, and Kim and Chelsea. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to Michigan about the LPGA girls golf program. Kind of ironic how I got started was through Dave Kendall, PGA professional that I think a lot of people know. He had contacted me about 8 years ago and asked me if I'd be interested in going into Detroit and working with the Michigan Women's Golf Association in the girls golf program. And, I was really busy at the time and debated whether I wanted to take that 1 hour drive, and I decided to do it. And I can tell you it's been the greatest decision I've made in my golf teaching career. The opportunity to work with this program and work with young girls has just been so rewarding, and it's a great feeling to, as a female, give back to young girls and give them the opportunity to learn a great game of golf and also to teach life skills, which is so neat. So after I did the Detroit, and I still do the Detroit group, I started my own program out in Washtenaw County in the Ann Arbor Saline area, and I've been doing that for a number of years, and it's just again super rewarding. And right now there's only 12 sites in Michigan, which is great, but there's certainly a lot of room for growth, and the opportunity for PGA professionals to come on board and help would just be so rewarding for you and so great for the girls. As Fernando mentioned, our program is based on the 5 E's, and I love those words and just what they mean. And one of the things we do with our girls is each of those words, you see them everywhere at our site. We have posters and actually too asking the girls what those words mean, because we want those words to be significant in their lives. And it's so cute to have a 10-year-old girl tell you what she thinks empower means, and just a lot of fun with that. But I remember years ago Commissioner Mike Wan talking about his goal for the LPGA girls golf program, and he wanted 100,000 girls involved in the program by 2020. And as Fernando mentioned, we're at 90,000 now, and I really believe if it wasn't for everything that happened with the pandemic this past year, we would be pretty darn close to that 100,000 number. So it's growing, and it's a very powerful program. As mentioned by Dean and Kim too, with the PGA Junior League and Fernando, there's so much flexibility with conducting this program, and you can do whatever works best for you and your facility and your time and the amount of help that you have. I went through and just a real quick, if you wanted to get involved, some of the things, first your facility. Obviously all of the PGA professionals have a place where they can conduct the program, and we kind of look at not having programs within 10 miles of each other, just to avoid conflict with girls in the same area. But get your facility lined up, and then kind of figure out help, who you have to help you. And one of the great aspects of this program is what we call our e-leaders, and these are young girls that are typically a little bit older, and they're involved in the program and helping you, and they really work to learn leadership qualities and also, as I mentioned, provide a lot of help for you. But high school players are a tremendous resource for your e-leaders and getting them involved. Help can come from women's leagues in your area, from women's associations, the Lpga Amateur Golf, which for some of you, it used to be the Executive Women's Golf Association. They're tremendous supporters of this program as well. And one thing that we were going to do this year in Michigan, but the pandemic, among other things, kind of didn't help, is I'm also very fortunate to be a high school golf coach and president of the High School Golf Coaches Association. And we were going to enlist high school coaches that we felt very confident with in terms of their teaching ability and their knowledge of the game to work with PGA professionals or LPGA professionals in hosting a program. So if you're a PGA professional that's a little concerned about the amount of time that you might have to be able to devote to this program, if you have a high school golf coach in the area that is willing to do this, this is a partnership that you can work on, and you would become the site director and you would oversee the program, but then your high school golf coach could be the lead instructor and can really kind of take the ball and run with it, and then get their high school players involved, and just kind of alleviate some of those time constraints from you. But we would still, require that you, oversee the program and make sure that you're following the LPGA guidelines and stuff. So that's a great option. And we had 3 high school coaches that were just really ready to go with that this summer. But again, the pandemic kind of squelched that. But again, trying to grow the game for the girls. We talked about financial support. It's not mandatory. There's grants available, but excuse me, so many opportunities to raise money through golf outings or fundraisers, different things to kind of help with different things that you might need money for. And some of those things include snacks and water and any training aids. But as PGA professionals, a lot of those you might already have. Again, a big stress on the flexibility. Determine the format that works best for you, whether it's a clinic once a month or it's once a week. There's so much flexibility involved. And then finding girls, usually not an issue. There's a lot of girls that want to be involved in the program, but just like with the PGA Junior League, some of your great resources are at your courses or your Girl Scouts or the YWCA. One of the biggest sites that's helped me for sources has been the high school, the schools, reaching out to the PE teachers in the schools or the high school coaches. High school coaches just have a great pulse on youngsters that are coming up, and they would be more than willing to help. And also, a little bit selfishly, they're trying to grow their programs as well and develop those young ladies. One of the things that we try to do across the nation with the program is to provide clubs for young girls that may not have equipment. And in my program, probably a third of my girls don't have golf clubs. So we're able to provide clubs for them for the summer. And the upstairs of my attic is just filled with golf clubs and boxes that we use for the girls. And a great resource for that, Fernando, next slide if you could. The Golf Course Builders Association does a wonderful job with providing clubs, sticks for kids. Actually, next slide too, Fernando. And that's a wonderful place to get clubs donated and equipment for them. And another great thing that the kids get are their membership kits. And you can see these young ladies with their Lpga hats. And the day that we hand out our Lpga swag is just a special day. And they're always asking, when are we going to get our stuff? When are we going to get our stuff? And so a lot of neat stuff comes from the Lpga that goes to the kids. And one other thing, when you're trying to figure out whether or not something new is good for you, the support that we have at Lpga headquarters is unbelievable. And they do such a great job at making you feel comfortable and helping you every step of the way. And then there's site directors across the country and an expert committee that they have that just will do anything that you need to help you feel comfortable with getting started and being involved in the program. So just how my program works, we meet 10 weeks during the summer. We start right after school is over, and we meet every Wednesday from 1 to 3. And when I first started the program, I was hoping I could get 25 girls. I thought that would be a great number. And 75 girls my first year. And it was very exciting. And we divide up into stations, and I have help from the Ann Arbor Women's Golf Association and the University of Michigan Golf Association and high school players in the area. And so we would have stations, as I mentioned, and a coach at each station, and rotate through and just do a lot of different things. And as was mentioned too, the American developmental model is a big part of our program, and the kids really love doing things other than golf, different games, different activities. Jump rope is one of the favorite, but we also have different themes throughout the year. And whenever it's an Olympic year, we have our Olympics and different things that we'll do running wise and long jump, and just trying to develop great athletes as well, and functional movement patterns in these youngsters, along with helping them with their game of golf. And some of the other themes, the one that we're really looking forward to this summer is the Solheim Cup. And for all of us in Michigan, that Solheim Cup is just right across the border there in Toledo at Inverness. And this would be a great opportunity to just get a whole bunch of young girls down there from Michigan to root for the USA team. And so we're excited about that coming up. One other great thing with the LPGA Girls Golf Program is our Lpga Leadership Academy. And it's not exclusive to the Girls Golf Program, but the majority of young girls that are part of the Leadership Academy come from girls golf. And this is held in 4 different sites across the country. And it's a 4-day event where young girls come together. There's 40 girls that are picked for each site. And they just learn so many wonderful things about becoming a leader, about the game of golf, things that are going to help them with life skills as they get older. And we're so fortunate that one of the 4 sites is in Midland for the Midland Dow Lpga tournament. And that was going to be in its 2nd year this past summer. Again, the virus took that out, but it's back on track to happen again this coming summer. And with the enthusiasm in Midland for the Lpga event, I'm sure they'll be having it for many years to come. So this is another great opportunity. One of my players on my high school team had the opportunity to go, and after I talked to her about it, she says that was life-changing for me. She says, I want to be involved in the game of golf somehow in my career. And it was just like, oh, that's so great. But Debbie O'Connell runs it, and just the enthusiasm, and it's just an awesome opportunity for girls. For anybody that's thinking about becoming a Lpga girls golf site director, I just can't encourage you enough. The difference that you'll make in young girls' lives through this program is so rewarding and just empowering to these girls. So please consider it. There's so much help out there, and I just love it. Can't say enough about it. So thank you for the opportunity to talk to you about this.
Fernando and Debbie, thank you so much for sharing all that information. I know during my time for 20 years, I was a teaching professional, and I was highly involved with the Lpga Girls Golf Club, and it is a tremendous opportunity to get girls involved. Girls can find the golf course sometimes intimidating, and they can find it sometimes intimidating to be thrown into a large clinic. If there's 20 boys and 2 girls, they can find that intimidating sometimes. And so I know that the Lpga Girls Golf Club is a great way to get girls into the game in a very welcoming, friendly, relaxed environment for those girls. And I know several Lpga and PGA professionals that I speak with have told me that they believe that there is a fantastic relationship within their own programming between the Lpga Girls Golf Club and PGA Junior League. And they've told me that they're able to get a lot of girls involved through their Lpga Girls Golf Club. And then those girls really gain a lot of self-confidence, and they want to be more involved, and they end up joining their PGA Junior League program and mixing in with that program as well. So I think there's a very good fit there between those 2 programs. And I just really appreciate all of the time and energy that you spent today sharing that with us. I know that many of the site directors that I personally know have told me that it is one of the most gratifying things that they do, and that they, in particular, are always talking about the self-confidence that the girls develop throughout the program. So I appreciate hearing so much about that program and how it's working for you, Debbie, and at your facility. And Fernando, I know you're an incredible support team for all of the professionals that are running the program as well. Do we have any particular questions anybody would like to ask either Debbie or Fernando? I know I've got 3 questions here in the chat channel that I was going to kind of address, but anything specifically about the Lpga before I go into the chat channel? Okay. Well, thanks again, Debbie and Fernando. So much appreciate your time today. Looking at the chat channel, one of the questions there says, with the PGA Junior League shop, is there an opportunity to get your course logo added to that? And right now, the answer is no, but the fact that you even asked that question leads me to think other people are going to ask that question as well and might have that demand. So I'm going to take that to our team, and that's something maybe we can look at and might be able to provide in the future as an opportunity. So I thank you for asking that question. Unfortunately, right now the answer is no, but maybe we'll be able to address that further. Another question in there from Kelly says, how are the golf courses able to facilitate so many kids? So Kelly says, I'm curious how 84 kids were able to take up that much space on the course, especially during COVID with the raised rounds that so many courses are experiencing. I'm going to give you my thoughts from pros that I've talked to, but I'm also going to ask Dean to kind of jump in here afterwards and share how you were able to make that happen. What I've heard from pros is, especially this year during COVID, as Kelly said, their rounds are sky high, their tee sheets are packed, things like that. They have told me that they are literally just finding the one slow point that they have. And hey, if that's Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m., that's when we're having our PGA Junior League golf. That's when we're doing it, Tuesday morning at 7:30. If it's Sunday evening at 6 p.m., we're going to do it Sunday evening at 6 p.m. And I have actually seen matches held at both those times, which is why I'm bringing it up. So they will literally analyze the tee sheet, find the absolute slowest time, and that's when those PGA Junior League games are going to be played. Dean, I'd love to hear from you if you have any other suggestions for Kelly on how to find time for those large numbers.
Yeah, definitely. That was a struggle for us. Once we realized how many kids we had, my first thought was, how can we handle all of them at one time? But I have 3 golf courses that I oversee with the city of Kalamazoo, and then I purchased Old Mill Golf Course this year. So I had 4 golf courses to spread the kids out on. So by creating the schedule and committing to the times, we just made it work at the courses when we could. And then we found out a lot of our leagues from the summer were still playing into September. And that kind of made it a challenge at especially Millen Park, which is a super busy golf course. So we actually had to move some of our matches to the other courses. But I'm fortunate that I had 4 courses that I could spread the kids out on. So I only had 21 at a course at one time.
Perfect. Thank you. And
Kim, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Fernando.
Some of these questions are also relevant to potential girls golf programs. So I would just like to pitch something in real quick. So, someone asked about the course logo added to the PGA Junior League shop. So we do offer custom-made girls golf logos, so you could use for embroidering, for items. So Debbie usually does this as well. But for example, if it could be like girls golf at Saline, and you could get that custom made into a polo, in addition to some of the other tools that we already offer with the generic logo. And in terms of background checks for additional instructors and coaches, we do those for free through Sports Engine. So usually every site director has to complete an application and a background check through us at no cost in order to proceed. So at least we offer that front.
Perfect. Thank you. And Fernando, we do the same for PGA Junior League. Any volunteers, coaches, captains, they all go through a background check, and then they also must go through kind of an abuse training program, so that way they have that education as well prior to starting as a coach. The other part of that question was, how are you finding these volunteers? And, a lot of these volunteers are either staff members or college or high school kids who might be students of yours that you are recruiting in to help with your programming. We have a lot of parents that serve as volunteers, and we also have a lot of people looking at utilizing their frequent avid golfers that are playing in their leagues. So their men's, their women's, their senior leagues, they'll go to those leagues and ask them, for assistance and say, hey, would you like to help us with our junior programming? It would be a great way for you to give back to the game. And so they are getting a lot, either through college and high school kids or through the league play and parents as well. So hopefully that helps a little bit there with those questions. Those are all the questions that I see in the chat channel. Is there any other questions, or Chelsea, what would you like to add in?
Yeah, obviously if there are any more questions, we'd love to answer them. We've covered a lot of topics today. I know a few of you jumped on a little bit later in the call, so we will be emailing out this video. It was recorded. We'll be emailing it out later today to all of the participants, along with the revenue scorecard and the PowerPoint from the Lpga Girls Golf presentation. So if you do need any contact information, that will be in the follow-up email later today. But do we have any additional questions? Anything from fall leagues, the online store, 17U, Lpga? All right, it looks like we are wrapped up for questions.
Chelsea, thanks so much for the opportunity today. And I want to thank all of you for attending today, all of our guest speakers as well. Dean and Debbie and Fernando, thank you for your time today and your expertise. We have a great topic lined up for you for next week, where we're going to take a kind of a deep dive into a brand new opportunity for 2021, which is going to be the PGA Family Cup. And PGA Family Cup is kind of a natural evolution from PGA Junior League to PGA Family Cup, and we're getting not just the junior golfers, but their entire families out on the golf course. So aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, parents, we're going to get them all out there. So we are really, really excited to share PGA Family Cup with you next week and fill you in with all of the different details about that. And we think it's something that you're going to really, really enjoy. So with that said, please join us next Tuesday, October 27th. That webinar is going to be at 1 o'clock, and we will share all of the PGA Family Cup info with you then. So thank you all for attending, and we hope you have a wonderful week.
It's looking like it's going to be.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, John.